Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome to the video. Welcome to my garage. So in this video, I'm going to be taking the body off of Mauler, start getting ready to take him apart. But I figured the first step in that process will be to take the body off so that then I have good access to everything. And then as I take the body off, I'm going to cut the panels apart to how I want them to actually go onto Mauler when I rebuild him, but I'll show you what I'm talking about with that when I actually do it. What I'm doing now is I'm taking advantage of, while I have Mauler all in one piece here, getting a bunch of measurements off of him, because once I tear him apart and start building the new chassis, I like his current dimensions, so I want to make sure when I build the new chassis that I can make everything the same as it is right now. Some of the more important things I want to capture are things like, you guys already saw me take the exhaust off over here. The reason that I did that is so that I can get in here and I measured things like how far this lower pivot is from the pivot point of the rear drive shaft, the distance between this point and this point, the upper link and the lower control arm. Right now I've got these two plumb bobs hanging off of the bolt of the lower control arm so that I can measure how wide it is, so that I can carry all that stuff over. Even though the geometry on Mauler is not as accurate as it is on Wratchet, it's still really good and it works really well, and I like the wheelbase and all that stuff. So I want to have all of these dimensions so that I can replicate this on the new chassis. So I'm going to get that dimension. I think that's the last dimension that I need. And then once I'm satisfied that I have all the dimensions, and I'll run around and take some photos, then I'm going to take things like the wing off, take the doors off, take the one-piece front end off, the fenders, get all of the simple pieces off of the chassis. And then I'm going to rig it up and actually pull the body off of the chassis, and I'll show you how I do that. Okay, I think I'm at the point where everything is disconnected. I pulled the bolts out of the back here. I pulled the little brackets I had connecting the sides with the roll cage. I pulled off the bolts on the bottom, and then there was a couple of other miscellaneous bolts tucked, like there's some under the steering column and things like that. But I think I've got everything clear. A couple of wires I had to pull out. The roof lights were run through the top of the body. I pulled those out. It seems like it's just floating on here now. So I'm going to roll it forward to where my overhead hoist is, hook some straps up, and I should be able to pull it right off. All right, there we go. Now we've got the body off. There's the body there. And if we come over here to Mauler's skeleton, you can see this is where what I had done on this body is where the channel usually is on a regular Volkswagen body. I had cut that off, obviously, and welded in this. This is a piece of 3" by 2" rectangular. It does have a kick in it, just like a regular Volkswagen channel would have. And then it's got these tabs on it. It's got 4 of them. One there, one back there, and one right here. And it makes it so that you can take all of the bolts out and the body will just sit on the skeleton here. Those tabs will kind of rest here, and it makes it a lot easier because then you can take all the bolts out, kind of take your time. You saw how you can kind of wiggle it around and it'll slide back and forth a little bit. And then once you, like I just did there, you can set up all your straps and then you can lift it straight up. And I built the chassis so that it's straight up and down, so when you pull it up, it doesn't have to flare out or anything. But once I did that, I realized the body's real flexible. So if this roll bar was a little bit bowed out, like an inch or 2, you could cover that. The body would easily flex and go around that. But that's cool. That gets me down to the skeleton here, so I can really start tearing this completely apart, because I want to get this all taken apart, take everything out of here, because obviously I'm starting from scratch with a Wratchet chassis, so I need to build the base of the Wratchet chassis, and then I can start building this back up. I'm going to use all the suspension stuff, and I'm actually going to cut the front clip off, and I'm going to reuse this front clip as much as I can. The rear is going to be totally different, because it's going to be like the Wratchet chassis where the rear engine cage is all welded one piece, and this will probably come back here so that there's enough room for the engine to come back and then up and out. Right now this is a cage that is just bolted on, and you'll see when I remove the engine, but you can remove the bolts there, down there, remove the engine mounts, and then you take this off. But the new chassis is not going to have that, because I want all that strength of everything triangulated in there, like I did on Wratchet. So what I'm going to do with the body is, because I'm making him with a Wratchet chassis, and on the Wratchet chassis the body panels are like a skin. They just bolt on the outside. So on Wratchet here I can unbolt all these panels and I have just the skeleton chassis. Well, on Mauler here I want to do that, but I want to do it with this metal body. So I need to kind of come in here and figure out how I'm going to do it. I mean, I know how I'm going to do it. I'm going to cut all of this interior stuff out. I'm going to cut the channel off, cut that across the bottom. I'm going to cut all of this stuff out. Cut this thing. This body's such a piece of crap. I had to weld in these lower quarters down here. But anyways, I'm going to get rid of all of this stuff. So it's just going to be the skin. So I'll probably be cutting this right about here. All of that stuff will be garbage. So I'll just have the skin here. I'll have the roof. I'm going to keep all of this stuff, but I'm going to cut this stuff out. And on this one, I'm going to retain that bug look. So whereas Wratchet kind of stops right here, I'm going to retain all of this stuff somehow. Obviously I haven't figured all of that out yet. And then of course I'll put the door panels on here. Haven't decided yet if I'm going to give it doors or make it step in. I like it being step in, but being that it's, when you have to crawl into there, it honestly limits, it limits a lot of people being able to get in there. And since I'm pretty sure I'm rebuilding Mauler here to sell him, I think if I have doors, that'll open up the window to people that would be interested in him. So I might do some sort of hybrid setup where instead of having the bar go across here like Wratchet does, I'll do an X so that it's a lot easier to get in, and then maybe just make a door skin that opens, and maybe I'll try to retain some of this. I'm not sure. Still crunching my brain bucket on that. Well, I don't know if you guys can see, but on this chassis, you know, the edge of the body would be all the way out here. I lose so much room when I build it inside the body. The footwell's really small. The throttle doesn't feel bad, but the brake and the clutch are so low that you kind of have to, not so much the brake, but the clutch, you kind of have to toe it, or you can see how like I'm pushing it with my toe because there's not room. One nice thing about the Wratchet chassis is it's going to open up this footwell a lot on both sides, give me a lot more room. It's so fun sitting in this thing without the body on it. Anyways, that's it for this video, guys. My goal for the weekend was to get the body off, which I did. Now I need to, like I said, figure out how I'm gonna cut that up. That'll probably be the next video because I need to cut it up so that I can store it off to the side. Then I'll start tearing Mauler apart so that I can start building the chassis. I want to get past all this tear down stuff because that's fun, but it kind of feels like you're going backwards. I want to get to the point where I'm actually putting things together, and I'm kind of excited actually to, when I have the body all cut apart, to put all those pieces together. I'm going to mock all that up and then build the chassis real tight inside of there. I'm going to use the Wratchet chassis template for the base, so that's how I'll do the base, but then I'm going to kind of custom build the tube chassis inside so that it retains all the look of the original Bug. At least that's my plan at this point. So thanks for watching the video. I hope it's helping you guys with whatever you're working on, and I hope to see you in the next video. Take care.